This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Caddles.
Is Eliot Wolf really going to be the final decider still on what goes on with this team? Is he being stripped of any of this? And if so, how could he possibly remain?
No, from what I understand, and this was sort of like during the negotiating process with Vrabel, and I don't know where it came out, and we'll be trying to find that out in the next couple days. Regardless of what Kraft says tomorrow, what Vrabel says about final say and things like that, and then I wouldn't be surprised if they talked around it, and then we press Robert a little bit more at the league meetings. I think that Vrabel's going to have the final say on everything. I think they're going to go to a strong head coach model, and I think that's going to be Vrabel. And as far as, Ryan Cowden reportedly coming in from Charles Robinson of Yahoo, and Eliot Wolf, these are the way things typically go in the NFL. And there's a bunch of different reasons, and people handle it differently. But I don't think it's a big deal. It's just like I didn't think it was a big deal when Robert Kraft said that Eliot Wolf is going to stay on and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, everybody reacted and got all out of their heads. I don't think it's a big deal. I think that Eliot Wolf, especially when you're dealing with a guy like Eliot Wolf, who really works well with people, has been a number 2 in different places, I think they will figure it out. And at the end of the day, I think that Vrabel's going to listen to everybody. And I think that largely the front office is going to stay intact, which I don't have an issue with. We'll see I don't really have an opinion on Matt Groh, but I know like Eliot Wolf, Alonzo Highsmith, Pat Stewart, all those guys have been around the league. They're experienced. They're qualified for their jobs, and they would be great people to have in your personnel department. I think at the end of the day, when the Patriots make these decisions, it's going to be a group. Mike's going to listen to everybody. He might lean on Ryan Cowden a little bit more, but that doesn't mean that there's dysfunction or there's an issue. I think they can figure it out. They're all professional. That's the biggest thing. All of these guys are professionals and experienced, from Vrabel to Cowden to Wolf to Highsmith, Pat Stewart. These guys are professionals. They can figure it out and get the job done for the New England Patriots.
Sure, they can, but now that you've gotten a taste of sugar, you've been at the top, you've been the guy who kind of had the final say. Can you take a back seat again and be effective? Can you do this without being like, well, that's his guy and that's my guy? And the you already saw a little bit of finger pointing from Wolf to Mayo, Mayo to Wolf, just in terms of, well, my guys didn't develop as I had hoped with the draft picks, and other people may be feeling that those guys really weren't that good to begin with, and I got handed this pile of shit coming in here. So isn't that a problem? Like, isn't that a potential problem here if you've got one side and the other? And when things go well, I'm sure you can work together and play nice in the sandbox. But if it goes to hell, I don't see how that can work.
It's valid. Just for an example, the Buffalo Bills, when Sean McDermott got hired, Doug Whaley was still the general manager, and he went through the whole offseason, and they actually sort of nailed they knocked that offseason out of the park. And eventually they brought in Brandon Beane to be general manager. I mean, look, I think that my understanding or my belief from talking to people, and no one's told me this directly, but this is just my feeling, is that Robert, and you get this with a lot of NFL owners, they say, why don't you give these guys a chance and see how it works? And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then at some point in time, Eliot Wolf and others will depart, and Vrabel will go forward, sort of shaping the organization in what he wants. So, I think it's a little overblown, especially with Vrabel. My belief is that he will ultimately be in charge.